Some big news from the Mint Collective. It looks like Beckett Grading, BGS, is changing their grading standards. And guys, you know what that means. It's going to be chaos in the streets. People are going to be freaking out over it. Obviously, there's going to be question marks around what does it mean for current values of BGS 9.5 and BGS 10s. The current pristines, are they going to become black labels? Are the 9.5s going to then be relabeled as 10s?
Yes, exactly. But
it'll be interesting to see how Beckett goes about it. I have an example here of really you have a card that is a quad 9.5 with a 10 on the corners, and this is a BGS 9.5. Now, if I'm looking at this right with their grading scale, this would be a 10. So can I get this reholdered to show a 10?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
And this kind of piggybacks off a video I did just a couple days ago where I was kind of speculating, is it getting easier to get BGS 10s? I was looking at Pixar cards, and I did get a lot of comments in the comment section about, hey, Pixar has high quality cards. They are newer cards, so these are brand new releases. So the expectation is that you would be able to get 10s easier than you would maybe a 10-year-old card or 15-year-old card, etc. But this kind of speaks more to that maybe they are trying to move more towards that 10 grade, keeping the subgrades because people do like subgrades. I think that people that use Beckett, they enjoy the subgrade element, but it does look to be that they are more focused on 10s. And we've talked about it, BGS 9.5s in comparison to PSA 10s. There's a huge difference. There's a chasm in pricing on a lot of cards. Not on every card, depends on the card, obviously. But there is a growing kind of divide, it's looked like over the last couple of years.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
And so maybe this is a way that Beckett is answering this. Big thanks to today's video sponsor, DC Sports 87, the consignment place for the eBay stuff. You don't want to sell it on eBay yourself? Send it to DC Sports 87. They will take care of it for you. Their payouts are within 1 business day. So right as kind of auctions end, it uploads in real time on their website, and then you can request payout 1 business day, typically turnaround time. It's very, very fast, your payouts, and they list 5,000 to 7,000 cards a day. So a lot of volume. DC Sports 87, a great place to consign your cards on eBay. Now, as I talk about this, as I throw in my opinion, I have to also disclose my channel is sponsored by SGC. So I am an SGC homer. They are my favorite grading company. I make that abundantly clear. For what I'm trying to do with my collection, SGC makes the most sense for me for what I'm trying to do. But I also recognize that there's a lot of value in the other grading companies. The big four, really, I think they've got loyalty pockets there where people like, hey, I've got a certain type of card, I'm going to CSG, or I'm going to PSA for this, or I'm going to BGS for that, SGC for this other thing. So obviously there's going to be competition among these 4 companies, but I think it's really great for collectors / speculators / investors to have all sorts of different grading options, really solid grading companies, and all can offer value. But like I said, SGC is my favorite. So as I'm talking about this, I'm disclosing my bias here. It's well known that BGS has really kind of fallen off over the last couple of years, really kind of going back, I would say 3 years. The company that Dr. Beckett built in the 80s with the Beckett magazines is a legacy company in the hobby. I mean, let's face it, there's not a lot of brands that are really long-time brands. Topps is one, Beckett is another. I mean, Beckett is an important company. And then over the last 3 years, with the pandemic and the onslaught of business that really all of these grading companies received, they just fell way, way behind. Now, PSA did shut down. They closed their doors. And a lot of people were like, man, that's crazy. They shouldn't have done that. But they've ramped up since then, and now their capacity is way higher than it was. During that time, SGC really elevated their brand. They have historically been really dominant in that vintage space. That's been the crux of their business. But man, they have really blown up in the modern, ultra-modern world over the last 12 to 18 months. They have solidified themselves in the grading space and continue to do so. And so BGS, I think, really looking for a spark. This is a company that, is trying to to move more towards a technology company. They hired a CEO that has a technology background. They are trying to advance themselves. I think they've got a lot of, there's new minds in there that are trying to do different things. And this is one of them, obviously. This must be the big announcement at the Mint Collective that they were talking about. Whether it's going to be a pro or a con for them, I think it really depends. I'll reserve a lot of my judgment until I really see kind of the details of this thing, because really all we know is just there's a change. There's a change that's happening. I checked their website and, I didn't see anything about new grading standards or how they're going to be doing things differently. So I didn't see an announcement on the site unless I just missed it. So obviously a lot of the details are probably going to come out over the next few days or over the next week on how they're going to be doing things. But I think the biggest concern, or what people are going to be really paying attention to, is what does it mean for the current slabs that they've got? It's kind of similar when you look at old PSA slabs. Some people don't mind them. Some people don't mind an old PSA slab compared to a new one. Others will say, like, you know what, I'd rather have a newer PSA graded card because I feel like their standards were higher. That's a tougher grade, maybe. So it's all about perception. We talk about in the hobby, narrative drives a lot of stuff. Perception drives a lot of what collectibles are worth and what they can be worth down the road. So this is a big move by Beckett. Maybe it's one that people will say they needed to do. They had to do it. Just as they have slipped as far as their grip on the grading space. But, they're within striking range. Maybe they feel like if they make these adjustments, they can be back on top. But again, I think it's just going to boil down to secondary market for a lot of cards. Are they going to reholder all of these 9.5s, like what I showed here? This is a quad 9.5 with 10 corners. This, I believe, based on what I'm seeing, would be a BGS 10. So do I just send it to them and then they turn this into a 10? Does it have to be regraded? There's question marks that need to be answered, and I'm sure we will have more details as it comes. But big announcement by Beckett. What do you think about it? Does it affect how you operate? Are you still going with Beckett no matter what? I know there's a lot of people that just really like Beckett slabs, and that's fair enough. But I would like to hear from you all, obviously, as BGS customers. All right, guys, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.